day one, and I'm not talking about day 1776 BC here. I'm talking day one. That ever since God let there be, let man self-rule, there was money involved, treasure involved. There's always been money involved in U.S. politics. Now, maybe it hasn't always been as grand as we see it today, but it's always been there. It's always been influential. And the point behind it is it doesn't matter if the money if there's money in the advertising or not. That's really irrelevant. What is relevant is the very notion that the American people, the voter, understands that a lot of their politicians, a lot of the people that they've elected in the past are crooked, they're crooks, they're corrupt, and some of them should probably be in jail. But what do we do instead as voters or Americans? We re-elect these people, and we do it multiple times. Often, the only way that we get rid of these people is when these particular people decide, well, they've stolen enough from the American people, so now they're going to retire and enjoy themselves. Some never retire. A few get defeated and thrown out at the election box, but many of them get to have long, illustrious, very profitable political careers at the expense of the American people. And the only reason that they're able to have those careers is because the American people keep electing them. So it is not so much the problem of the money that is involved, even when there wasn't as much money as some people like to think, especially on the left. It's all Citizens United. So before Citizens United, I guess they think there was no money involved. But we still got the same people in office. So it is money involved. And the point here is that it is our own undoing, just like in this movie where Optimus Prime has to try to save humanity from its own selfish, immoral desires without really thinking things through. We don't have that in reality. We don't have an Optimus Prime, but, well, in a sense that it isn't one entity or one individual. We can have an Optimus Prime, but it is called the collective. Yeah, I know some people are thinking, what, Borg? Borg? It is futile. No, it's not futile. It's not futile to try to change things. It's not futile to understand that you and I are part of the problem. And until we fully understand, it's kind of like going to Alcoholics Anonymous. Until you understand that you have a problem, you're not going to get better. So until the American voter understands that the American voter has a real problem, nothing in politics is going to change. Seriously, you have to really think about this. Nothing is, if you keep let me give you just John Boehner. Everybody, including a lot of people in Ohio, were complaining about how mamby-pamby, wimpy, flip-floppy, moderate John Boehner was. John Boehner, man, he is such a wimp, always crying at the drop of a hat. He's not a true conservative. He's a moderate. He's a big government moderate, man, and he sucks. A lot of Ohioans would say that about him in his district. John Boehner, man, he shouldn't be the speaker. He's just a whip, man. He's not strong. He's not leading people. He's just awful. And what happens every 2 years? John Boehner gets reelected. Look at it this way. Every 2 years, he gets rehired. So is it John Boehner's fault that it's completely his fault that he's a total wimpy, mamby-pamby, flip-flop, moderate, want to be conservative Republican, big government Republican. Well, it's not just his fault. It's the voters' fault for having to re-elect. How many times how many years did he serve? I can't think off the top of my head, but it's the people in his district's fault for re-electing him. Now all we have to do is turn to the Oval Office and say the same thing. We got people complaining about Barack Obama today, especially him going overseas talking about, hey, this climate change, and we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of terrorism. Telling you, we don't got to kill anybody. While Hoan is over there saying, we are at war. The French are at war with the jihadists. And Obama's, telling the world and Hollande, hey, we don't got to be at war. It's not really terrorism. It's all because of this global warming, all this climate change. If we take care of the climate change, then we get rid of some of this, the global warming, and we get rid of some of the, what you call terrorism. You're just people trying to survive. That's all it is. If you're just trying to survive. It kind of reminds me of the fluffy thing. Gabriel Iglesias. One of his comedy routines. Everybody think that everybody in the Middle East is angry. We go around angry. We have scowl on our face like we angry. We just angry all the time. We're not angry. We hot. And it's hot down there because of what? Global warming. But how did we get to this point? Well, here in the United States, I don't know about the rest of the world, but here in the United States is what I'm concerned about, is we get to this point constantly and try to have to fight back all these different regulations that are going to be coming forth from the EPA and other government agencies that have to do with the environment. And we wonder how we get this stuff. And everybody, it's kind of like, Obamacare. Everybody, well, how do we get Obamacare? Nobody likes Obamacare, but yet and still we re-elected the guy who was the chief architect behind pushing Obamacare. And, we don't believe in global warming as a nation, and we don't believe that we're the major cause of it especially, but yet we re-elect a person who believes that it is your and my fault, every single one of you 320 million Americans out there trying to live your daily lives. It is your fault that we have global climate change. The president has said so, and he's going to make you pay for what you have done to the climate. And yet you're going to go and re-elect him. Does it take a lot of money for you to realize that you made a mistake the first time? You knew it. This is why I don't buy into the Citizens United thing one way or the other. Because we as a people, we knew where this guy stood. And I still see these memes. Well, if the press had done their job and vetted this person. So maybe the first time around, that was right. But after 2 years, we all knew what this guy was about. After his first 2 years in office, we knew exactly what he was about. Yet 2 years after his first 2 years in office, we gave him another term. That had nothing to do with Citizens United. That had nothing to do with money in politics. That had everything to do with, for whatever reason, the American people thinking, okay, yeah, we know this guy's a jerk, but, we'll vote for him anyway. I don't understand it. I don't get it. That's why even if there is an Optimus Prime floating around in the outer space out there looking down on us, well, maybe they're worth saving. No, they're going to be looking at us. No, they're just idiots. Humans are stupid. Humans are just redonkulously idiotic and illogical. They know they have a problem. They know they need to fix that problem. And they know where the problem originates, and yet they have this notion that they call themselves democratic and they freely elect these people to represent them and do their bidding, and yet they re-elect the same people every single 2 or 4 or 6 years who go against their will and do exactly the opposite of what they want, the voter wants. Look, you get the government you deserve. You get the government you vote for. And I think this is what Optimus was trying to tell the audience. Look, okay, I can stand by you, but look, unless you change, I can take this ultimate bomb here. I can take it off planet. I can fly it into deep outer space where nobody will ever find it again. That's going to be really irrelevant because the next time I am not going to stand by and help you. I'm not going to help you anymore. He was flat out not going to help you. Because you're the ones that keep doing the same damn thing over and haven't we been down this, Optimus Prime was saying, haven't we been down this road before? We saved your butts in the last movie, and then now you're hunting us down and killing us to where there's only 4 or 5 of us left. And now you want to tell me that you need our help. And if we help you again, all you're going to do is turn around and do the same stupid things. Why are we risking our lives to save you when you cannot save yourself? Now, you may think that a movie has nothing to do with reality, but I'm telling you, it has everything to do with reality. Because if you look at those nut jobs across the pond, if you will, having this summit on global, do you realize how much now they're saying that CO2, something that you exhale naturally even while sleeping. Every mammal on the planet does. They're saying that CO2 is a poisonous gas. Basically, it's a global. It's a greenhouse gas that warms up the planet, and that they need to cut down on CO2. Well, plants need CO2 in order to thrive and live and convert CO2 into to oxygen. The stuff that we breathe. But they're out there running around talking about climate change and global climate this and global climate that, and they're spewing. You would not believe the amount of tonnage of CO2 that they're putting in the air by having all these wonderful world leaders and ambassadors converging on Paris. In a day and age when you have the ability to have a virtual meeting, I'm sure they've all heard of GoToMeeting. They didn't all need to, fly in and drive in their limousines over into Paris so they could have, this meeting. Oh, no, that wasn't necessary. You've got GoToMeeting and other online platforms that they could have utilized and had a real live conference all over the world without anybody, saving a ton of CO2, saving a ton of energy, saving a ton of money. But no, they had to go out there and act like that they were bigger, better, badder than the rest of us, that they knew more than the rest of us, so they can be there together and talk about how to save the planet. While they're doing exactly what they say we should not be doing, they're doing it, so they're the ones killing the planet, but they're out there trying to figure out a way to prevent us from killing the planet while they proceed to kill it. And you know what's going to happen is you're going to get back here in the United States. You're going to have all these wonderful leftists and moderates that say, oh, the president, he's trying to save the planet. And he's not trying to save the planet. He was just out there with all his cronies from all around the world helping to kill the planet. If you actually believed in all that kind of garbage. Just saying. The president was trying to kill the planet by flying to Paris. That's all the movie was saying. That was its major plot. Its major underlying... Why should we risk our lives, our Transformer lives, our Autobot lives, to save you who refuse to save yourselves because you put yourselves back in these situations time after time after time after time after time? It seems like humanity never, ever learns from its history or its mistakes. And with that, basically, if you haven't seen it yet, I give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars because it says so much about the reality of us.